Hello everyone, this is AndresRestart, and today we are going to be doing a full breakdown for the recently announced Zelda LEGO collaboration. Yesterday, Nintendo made this announcement, and when I saw it, I was extremely excited because I do think it's very strong evidence for an even bigger project we've been theorizing about that has been rumored for a few years, a big Zelda Ocarina of Time remake. But no, I do not think this announcement is for a LEGO game. I do not think there's going to be a Zelda LEGO game, and this announcement has nothing to do with that, but rather a Zelda LEGO set. However, I do think this announcement has some pretty big implications for a future game, for the movie as well, and just Nintendo's overall plans for Zelda's 40th anniversary, so I want to take a closer look at this announcement and break down what it may all actually mean. But before going forward, let me point out that I do have this goal to reach 60,000 subscribers, so if you find yourself enjoying my videos, I would very much appreciate your support, liking the video, hyping the video, subscribing if you haven't done so already. It all makes a huge difference. Regardless, I at least thank you for coming by to watch today's video. So to clear up on some things here, a lot of us were expecting this announcement to happen at some point sooner or later, because a few months back we had gotten a rumor coming from the BrickTap community, who are known for leaking different LEGO sets, and they had leaked that there would be an Ocarina of Time Ganondorf diorama of 1,003 pieces coming out March of 2026. And so what is this announcement? This announcement, we see a little teaser of a LEGO version of Link, green tunic Link with the hairstyle of Link from Ocarina of Time, with the fairy Navi next to him, so clearly Ocarina of Time Link, and then we have Princess Zelda blurred out in the background, and then we see fire and a destroyed castle and a very dark environment. This is very clearly depicting the final battle for The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. And what we don't see is Ganondorf, but we do see his shadow. We see a shadow of him transforming into Ganon, the way he did during that final battle, and we even have the sound effects of him transforming into Ganon, just like in the original game. And so this is a strong teaser towards this Ganondorf diorama. It's going to be very exciting to see this, and this is going to be a very cool Zelda LEGO set, a buildable LEGO set that will come out next year. Now, I'm going to assume it's going to come out March, maybe it's going to get delayed. The rumor was March of 2026, and so far the rumor is proving true, so that's what I think is the most likely release timing for this set until Nintendo announces otherwise. But that is what this is. Now, I do think this has bigger implications beyond just a LEGO set. And no, I do not think it's a Zelda LEGO game. A lot of people are thinking, oh, cool, Zelda LEGO, are we going to get a Zelda LEGO game? That is not what is going to happen here. We already officially know, by the way, that this is a Zelda LEGO set. Like, the actual announcement says, build The Legend of Zelda, and this is on the LEGO website, right? This is not a teaser for a game. This isn't directly on Nintendo's website, for example, for a game you can buy on Switch 1 or Switch 2. Not to mention, we already have other places saying this is a Zelda LEGO set. Like, very obviously, this is something you're going to build together. This is not a game. But some people think it might be a teaser for a game, and I do think it is a hint towards a game, but not a Zelda LEGO game. To be completely blunt here, if Nintendo and LEGO were to work together on a Ocarina of Time remake in the LEGO style, that would be a huge tone-deaf mistake. That would not do well. Like, yeah, actually it would do well, don't get me wrong, but it wouldn't do nearly as well as an actual proper Ocarina of Time remake. They would make millions less, they would sell millions less, they wouldn't boost the brand as well as they could, and this wouldn't set things up well for the 40th anniversary or the movie. Not as much, and they wouldn't be bringing in as much of a Zelda audience to play this game as they would if they were to do a proper remake for Ocarina of Time. Now, that said, I'm not saying there can never be some sort of Zelda LEGO game later down the road. I do think there is the possibility, sometime later down the road, years from now, there could maybe be some sort of Zelda spin-off that could be done in the LEGO style. That is possible, but I don't think we're ever going to see a mainline Zelda game made in the LEGO style. There's never going to be a Zelda team project that is going to be made in the LEGO style. The Zelda team, they like to make their own art styles for their Zelda games, and I think that's going to maintain forevermore. But this is what I do think this Zelda LEGO set is a teaser for. As we've talked about many times before, Nintendo likes to put out different products in lead up to a bigger release of some kind. We've seen them do this with Pikmin, Donkey Kong, Mario, and more. Some examples. The Donkey Kong expansion to Super Nintendo World opened in May of this year, and what came out shortly afterwards in July? Donkey Kong Bonanza. In the same presentation, Mario Galaxy 2 was finally announced to be coming to Switch 1 and Switch 2, but what also happened? The announcement for the Mario Galaxy movie. There is intentionality with these different projects that are used to branch out Nintendo IP and their games. They are used to cross-promote each other, and they do have a build-up. Like we look at Pikmin, they had Pikmin in Super Nintendo World, they had Pikmin 3 Deluxe, they had Pikmin Bloom, and then they had Pikmin 1 and 2 come out right before Pikmin 4. And Pikmin 4 has gone to become the best-selling Pikmin game to date, and growing. And so we look at what's going on here with this LEGO set. This is bringing back Ocarina of Time to the forefront. This isn't Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom. This is a second Ocarina of Time LEGO set. We actually had another with the Deku Tree that was based off the Breath of the Wild Deku Tree, but also the Ocarina of Time Deku Tree. They brought that design back. And now, as we enter the 40th anniversary for The Legend of Zelda, they've announced this new LEGO set that's totally dedicated to Ocarina of Time. And I think this is actually very key here. The live-action Zelda movie is coming out in 2027. Nintendo may want to strengthen the brand of Green Tunic Link, remind the world of this iconic style, because throughout the Switch era, it's been Breath of the Wild Link. But with the first Zelda movie, they're probably going to want to depict Link in the green tunic. So throughout the 40th anniversary, they're probably going to use this as an opportunity to market and brand the classic style of Link with different products, such as this Ocarina of Time Green Tunic Link fighting Ganondorf. And the neat thing about this is that when the movie does come out, it's going to compel people to go back to all these different things about Zelda and play them. They're going to see Green Tunic Link in the movie, and then they're going to be more compelled to buy this LEGO set and whatever else Nintendo comes out with in 2026 and 2027. And yes, part of that I do think includes a new Zelda release. Now, Tears of the Kingdom just came out in 2023. So we're not getting a new Zelda game anytime soon. I've been theorizing for a very long time that since they can't put together a new Zelda game in time for the opening of the Switch 2 generation, the next best thing is to work on a remake in the meanwhile, while they use this time as an opportunity to test out the system, get acquainted to the system, get this remake out there to get the Zelda fanbase invested early on into the Switch 2, which will set them up well to continue their work on the next brand new Zelda a few years later. And I don't want to use this video to go over every single little bit of evidence that has come out for this Ocarina of Time remake, but I'll just remind people that yes, there are rumors for an Ocarina of Time remake, some of which coming from Nash Weedle has gotten many things right all throughout this year of Switch 2, and also the Zelda series producer, Eiji Aonuma, in 2 different interviews, clearly was suggesting something about there being a project for Ocarina of Time, and he has a history of teasing future Zelda projects. So when we have these Zelda LEGO sets, this need for a remake early on for the Switch 2, we have rumors coming from places that have gotten over things right before, many things right before, and then we have the Zelda series producer who has a history of teasing future Zelda projects, and he has teased an Ocarina of Time remake. Yes, I think there's probably going to be an Ocarina of Time remake, now more so than ever before, because we have this very clear, blatant Ocarina of Time Zelda LEGO set. I think it's all meant as cross-promotion to build the brand, and when this game comes out, that will strengthen sales for this LEGO set, and vice versa, by the way. But I think this goes beyond even a game. I think this even extends to the park. I actually recently was at Super Nintendo World, and I took a look at the shop that they have right outside the entrance to Super Nintendo World. So for those who don't know how it works, when you go to Epic Universe, it's one grand park with other parks within it, right? Different sections, and so there's like a hub area where you can explore around that has its own rides, and then there are entrances to 4 other parks. One of them is Super Nintendo World. So as you're about to enter Super Nintendo World, there's actually a merchandise shop that looks really cool, and it has stained glass windows for the Mario characters, which makes sense, and also Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong, which also makes sense because Donkey Kong is part of Super Nintendo World now because they recently opened up that expansion. But what they also have is Link, Ganondorf, and Princess Zelda in these stained glass windows in this shop, and they even have on the floor a Zelda design. And also, when I've taken a look at the map, there's clearly a lot of space to expand Super Nintendo World here more than once. And we've also seen a leaked image of Aonuma, the Zelda series producer, with Miyamoto at Super Nintendo World looking at some sort of construction plans. So in my opinion, it's very obvious that the next expansion to Super Nintendo World is going to be for The Legend of Zelda. What we've seen with the gift shop suggests that they've already put in some preliminary work for Zelda to be part of the overall Nintendo experience at Epic Universe. Like, if it was only going to be Mario Universe stuff, they would call it Super Mario World and not Super Nintendo World. And Zelda is extremely iconic and important to Nintendo's history, very similar to Mario and Donkey Kong. So I think most people are probably going to agree with me here that most likely, yes, the next expansion to Super Nintendo World is going to be for The Legend of Zelda, and now that the Donkey Kong expansion is out, they may very soon announce plans for the Zelda Park, and likely that's going to be part of Zelda's 40th anniversary next year. But when we take a look at this LEGO set here, I think it could be some insight into just the overall look they're going for the Zelda Park. Because you see, like with the movie, they're going to be introducing Zelda to a wider audience. So what are they going to do? They're going to go back to Green Tunic Link. This isn't about Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom Link and those other characters. This is about the most iconic historical look for The Legend of Zelda, which just adds more reason to do different things to remind people of this look and style. Now, as a little bit of a counterpoint though, I will say this. The designs we see on the stained glass for the merchandise store are actually more so along the lines of the Twilight Princess designs for Link, Zelda, and Ganondorf. And recently, the actress for The Legend of Zelda in the Zelda movie, we've seen a picture for her birthday, and the birthday cake has the design for Princess Zelda from Twilight Princess. So for those pulling for more of a Twilight Princess kind of like look, maybe they're going to go more towards something like that. Really, what I think is going on here is not so much that it's going to be exactly Ocarina of Time Link that's going to be used in the park for Super Nintendo World or the movie, or even Twilight Princess, but just the Green Tunic Link. I actually expect that this version of Link is going to be a little bit like an amalgamation of the different Green Tunic Links, and I think we could even argue that perhaps a modern depiction of Ocarina of Time Link would not look too different from Twilight Princess Link. In a lot of ways, Twilight Princess is almost like a redoing of Ocarina of Time. Not entirely, I do think both games have very different identities, but there are certainly some similarities as well. But that's pretty much what I make of this new Zelda LEGO set. It is more evidence that Nintendo is going back to this style of Link to make him more relevant throughout the 40th anniversary and going into the movie. And during this period of time, we'll also likely see the announcement for the Zelda Park. And I do think it is even more evidence to pile on to the great mountain of evidence for a eventual remake for Ocarina of Time. An ambitious one. But what do you all think? Let me know in the comments below. This is AndresRestart. Thank you so much for listening and watching, and I will see you all really soon. Take care. Bye.